রাজধানীর সোনাগা হোটেলে বিপিও সামিটে তথ্য প্রযুক্তি খাতে অবদানের জন্য সম্মাননা তুলে দিচ্ছেন প্রধানমন্ত্রী তথ্য ও যোগাযোগ প্রযুক্তি বিষয়ক উপদেষ্টা সজীব ওয়াজেদ জয়। আমরা সরাসরি চলে আছি সেখানে।
Within 10 years, we have now come to this place where we have over 50,000 employed in the BPO sector, earning $300 million a year. If you will recall that audiovisual clip, all of the achievements, all of the development that you saw, none of that had even been dreamed of, had not even been planned prior to our Awami League government coming to power in 2009. All of this, the metro rail system, the Padda Bridge, fiber optic connectivity throughout the country, the many high-tech parks, none of this had even been thought of. It hadn't been started, the planning hadn't been done, they simply did not exist. Very few countries have been able to achieve such rapid growth in such a short amount of time. 10 years ago, Bangladesh was being considered a failing state. A BPO industry, an IT industry, was simply not even possible. You had a severe shortage of electricity. Connectivity did not exist. There was very little bandwidth, and what there was extremely, extremely expensive. And when we launched our vision of a digital Bangladesh, of making Bangladesh a middle-income country by the year 2021, everyone said it was impossible. Today, no one believes that to be impossible. We have achieved many of our goals ahead of target, and rather than becoming a middle-income country by 2021, Bangladesh became officially a middle-income country within the last couple of years. At this stage, what we have targeted for Bangladesh is the next phase of growth. What we believe, our vision, is that we should not just try to catch up to the rest of the world, but we need, for the future, Bangladesh needs to exceed many of its peers. The traditional phases of development, moving from an agrarian society to an industrialized society, then eventually moving forward, we do not have the time for that. We must progress faster. We need to leapfrog. And you have heard several speakers refer to the fourth industrial revolution. That is now upon us. We now have to focus not just on labor skills, industrialization skills, but rather the knowledge sector. And this is where our BPO industry comes in. Everyone, Bangladesh today until now was known globally as the world's second largest manufacturer of clothing and garments. That is a growth that came organically. Our garment sector started in the 1980s. It was started by the private sector, and it grew on its own with no government help, no government planning. The private sector took it forward on its own. However, for the BPO sector, for the fourth industrial revolution, for the knowledge sector, to wait for the private sector was something that we could not afford to do. That would have taken far too long. And it would not have been possible for the private sector alone to do it. So what our Awami League government focused on was providing the facilitating base that is necessary. We focused on revamping our policies to make it friendly and foster the growth of the IT industry. Our government removed all taxes on the IT industry, gave extensive tax holidays, and removed all import duties on IT equipment, hardware, software. We took up projects to build fiber optic cables, take it to almost every village in Bangladesh, where 10 years ago people said that was impossible. There is no way you can do that, especially in a short amount of time. Today, as you've seen, we've invested billions of dollars in laying out fiber optic cables, both from the government sector as well as from the private sector, and we now have an extensive network which is growing every day. This 120,000 kilometers of fiber, 10 years ago, almost none of it existed. All of this happened within 10 years, and it is growing rapidly. Our ICT ministry itself, you've heard some of the numbers. We are training 50,000 people every year in IT skills so that they can then enter primarily the BPO industry as well as various other high-tech industries. And not just training people in general. One of the priorities of our government is to empower women. Out of these 50,000, 10,000 positions, 10,000 trainees are reserved solely for women. Of course, there are the remaining trainees, the remaining training programs, 30% of the trainees are women as well, and this is all contributing to women's empowerment in our country. Just as the garment sector has become one of the largest employers of women, our target is that an equal number of women will be employed in the IT sector and the BPO sector as men. Many years ago, I had set what was considered a very ambitious target for our BPO industry, which was that by the year 2021, they would employ 100,000 people, and they would have $1 billion in exports. At the time, they were quite scared, and even today when I was talking to our young state minister, he said, well, we're at 300 million, how are we going to achieve $1 billion in 2 years? I said, look, 10 years ago, no one thought that there would be a BPO industry in Bangladesh. In 2 years, if anyone can achieve this, Bangladesh can achieve this. I'm also extremely happy to hear that the BPO industry has now spread outside of Dhaka, that there are outsourcing centers, call centers, support centers in places, in cities and towns such as Rajshahi, Sylhet, of course, Chittagong. Until now, all development in Bangladesh had been focused on Dhaka and Chittagong, and the rest of the country was being neglected. And that is why our goal, my personal goal from the IT ministry, was that we would not focus just on Bangladesh. We have built and are in the process of building 20 digital high-tech parks, and they are all over the country, in every district, in every part, in every major city of the country. We have been building it. The fiber optic cable network was laid out in phases. We started from Dhaka, Chittagong, but then we extended it to every major city, then from every major city to every upazila, and now we are taking it to every union, which is the smallest government unit of Bangladesh. And what I'm especially proud of, all of the policies, all of the development, and not just in the IT sector, everything that you see in Bangladesh, for example, the metro rail, the Padda Bridge, all of our power plants, the nuclear power plant, even the satellite that we have launched, Bangabandhu 1, all of these projects have been planned, overseen, and executed solely by the government of Bangladesh. Of course, the manufacturing is done by foreign companies. However, project management, has been done solely by the government of Bangladesh. None of this has been outsourced. We did not want to wait on anyone. We did not want to be dependent on anyone. We did it all on our own. And especially for Digital Bangladesh, what I'm especially proud of, all of the planning, all of the strategies, everything that we have done so far has been planned by us, by the government of Bangladesh. We have not hired foreign consultants to come in and map it out, give us grand plans. We have come up with our own ideas, our own innovations. There have been mistakes made. We have gone down the wrong path. We've had ideas which we have pursued that have not worked out, and we've had to reverse them, abandon them. But on this journey, we have learned. We have gained experience. Today, because of that experience, Bangladesh has become a knowledge leader recognized by governments around the world in digitizing a country rapidly and on a low budget. If you're a wealthy country and you have a lot of money to throw at it, you can throw money at the problem and try to solve it. We did not have that luxury. We had to do it on a very limited budget. Fortunately, now, 10 years later, that Bangladesh is today the 5th fastest growing economy in the world, the 40th largest economy in the world, our government's budget is no longer that limited. However, we want to maximize our resources. We believe in efficiency. We believe in maximizing the value that we give to the taxpayers of Bangladesh. And we have done that through innovation, our own innovations. And this really is the message I want to give to our BPO industry as well. You see, we live next door to a giant neighbor, India, who is known throughout the world as the outsourcing hub of the world. They are recognized as IT leaders in the world, globally. We cannot compete with them directly. That really is a very difficult challenge. But I believe we don't have to. Our BPO industry does not need to go head-to-head and toe-to-toe with the largest Indian IT BPO companies to try to imitate what they do. The IT industry is still very, very new. There are new services that are coming online that perhaps we have not even imagined. If someone had told you 10 years ago that you could be working on a project wearing virtual reality goggles sitting in Bangladesh, everyone would have said that's impossible. It's magic. Today, that is reality. And so my message to our BPO industry is, find your own niches, find your own innovations, find new technologies. Don't imitate, innovate. And that really has been my focus, my goal. You see, if you think about it, there was no roadmap to digitize a country. How do you digitize a country? In most countries, it has happened organically. No one has targeted and done it in a planned manner. And the solutions that you come up with have to be tailored to your own country, because each country's problems, each country's resources are different. And that is what we have done, and that is what we have done very successfully. I have to say, it makes me very proud whenever I'm at an international conference today. I was at the UN General Assembly last September, and there was a side panel where I was a speaker. And the head of the panel highlighted Bangladesh. And as an example, thank you. And as an example, he gave 2 examples of innovations that Bangladesh came up with that no other country had done. One was rolling out fiber optic cable rapidly down to almost the village level to establish connectivity. The second was our digital centers. Many of you are aware that we have built 4,500 digital centers around the country. We have converted some 8,500 more post offices into digital centers. And the whole concept of the digital center was that we would take IT services to the doorsteps of the common people, the villagers of Bangladesh, so that they were not left out. And so this was a president of a European nation. I believe it was Finland or Estonia, I cannot recall, unfortunately. And he highlighted these two achievements of Bangladesh, which were very, very innovative, which no other country had done. And at that moment, I felt tremendous pride because both of those were my personal initiatives. And those were two initiatives that, again, seemed impossible, seemed insurmountable, seemed extremely challenging, yet we were able to do it in a rapid amount of time and at a low cost. In fact, the first 4,501 union digital centers we had targeted that we would build within 5 years, we built them within a year and a half. And today, these innovations are transforming the lives of the common man of Bangladesh. More than the BPO industry, our Awami League government's goal has always been to transform the lives of every citizen of Bangladesh so that no citizen gets left behind. When our government came to power, our per capita income was somewhere around $500 a year. Today, we are close to $2,000 a year and growing rapidly. It makes me especially proud. 10 years ago, when I used to travel to the villages, I would see people destitute, with barely any clothes, barefoot. Today, when I travel the villages, you do not see people destitute. I can't remember the last time I saw someone in Bangladesh barefoot. And of course, everybody has a mobile phone because as Bangladeshis, we love to talk. I am very, very proud of the achievements of our Awami League government. And I'm proud to have been a part of it. I'm very proud to have been able to contribute to it. I'm extremely proud to have been able to have been given this opportunity to make a difference to the lives of every citizen of Bangladesh. And I'm especially proud to see the young men and women that are now employed in our BPO sector. This is something you had never seen before in Bangladesh. It's really, really exciting to see these smart youth who have made their own lives, who have a bright future, are earning a good living based on their own skills and not just waiting for a government job or running around for a regular job, that the traditional jobs in the government or in the more traditional fields. They have made their own career path which did not exist before in Bangladesh.
রাজধানীর সোনাগাঁও হোটেলে বিপিও সামিটে কথা বলছেন তথ্য প্রযুক্তি খাতে অবদানের বিভিন্ন বিষয় নিয়ে। সেখানে বক্তব্য রাখছিলেন প্রধানমন্ত্রীর তথ্য প্রযুক্তি উপদেষ্টা সজীব ওয়াজেদ জয়। আমরা সরাসরি ছিলাম সেখানে।